All right, Total Trucker here, Wrestling Rehab. Shouts to all the junkies out there. Okay, so I've been asked a few questions, right? And one of them is, what was the best and what was the worst WrestleMania? And you know what? That is an interesting topic. I do plan on going live, hopefully sometime soon, and maybe we could go over WrestleManias. Maybe not every single one of them. Maybe we'll do 5 at a time, 10 at a time. So look forward to that in the near future. But let me go ahead and tell you guys something, man. When I was a kid, we did not order any pay-per-views. My mom would not, she would not waste any money ordering any damn pay-per-views. So one young total trucker, Leo Chavalio, could enjoy some wrestling, So what would happen is that we would have to wait. Well, I would have to wait for it to come out at the video store. This is before Blockbuster and Hollywood Video and all that stuff. You know, it's just a regular video store, man. And there was no social media back then. There was no any of that stuff. So I didn't really know who won. Sometimes I would hear a little bit here and there, a little bit about it at school or what have you. But for the most part, I didn't really know what really happened. For the most part, again, like the major matches, I would know who won. But when it came, when people ask me, what is the worst WrestleMania, in my opinion, I don't know if this is the worst WrestleMania ever for me, but it's always the first one that comes to mind. WrestleMania 8. Now, because we used to rent it from the video store, I thought it'd be fitting to get this picture out there, and this is the way you see it on VHS when you would rent it. And I would just pop it into the VCR. Young little cholo trucker would kick it and enjoy himself some wrestling. However, this one was unenjoyable. Let's go over it. Now, I'm going to be fair all the way across the board and tell you guys what I loved about it, because there were some good things about it, but man, there were some horrible things about it. Okay, so one of the cool things that I really loved is Reba McEntire singing the national anthem. If you guys don't know, Vince McMahon did away with the national anthem. They sing America the Beautiful now, but she did a kick-ass job in singing the national anthem. And for one reason or another, I don't know why, but her performance, I'm not saying it's the best national anthem ever sung. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it always sticks out. Nonetheless, let's go ahead and let's move on. Hoosier Dome, Indianapolis, Indiana, April 5th, 1992. First time ever that WrestleMania was going to hold a double main event, which is what you see here on the right-hand side between the Macho Man Randy Savage and the Nature Boy Ric Flair, and the two guys on the bottom there, Sid Justice versus the Immortal Hulkster. Yeah, brother. All right, Holmes. So let's go over the card. All right. Shawn Michaels had just recently went heel. You guys remember that? Super kicking Marty Jannetty, smashing his head right through the window in the barbershop. Yeah, that was cool. I like that. So he had just went heel, man, not too long, before this. And it was no secret who was going to win. El Matador dog, Tito Santana, he just wasn't really on that level. As a matter of fact, Shawn Michaels originally was supposed to face Marty Jannetty, but Marty Jannetty, for one reason or another, there's a few rumors out there, he ended up getting fired. So they just kind of threw Tito Santana in there just to kind of fill in the spot, I guess. In a not so great match. I mean, both of those guys were good wrestlers. I'm just not sure how interested they were in the match. And there was really nothing there on the line. There was really no backstory for the most part. it was decent. It was all right. It was okay to see HBK become HBK with Sensational Sherry by his side. You know, that chemistry was barely starting to build up. But as we move on, here's a cool thing. Okay, The Undertaker versus Jake the Snake Roberts. Now, The Undertaker, this was his second WrestleMania. His first one was WrestleMania 7 when he defeated Superfly Jimmy Snuka. Right now, nobody thought, you know, hey, he was going to have the undefeated streak right at this point. But nonetheless, look, it was a slow match. Slow match. Jake the Snake Roberts was never really a fast guy in the ring. Good wrestler. I liked him. I like Jake the Snake. I like this character. Undertaker was still coming into his own. People were really fascinated with his character, and he was still growing, man. And of course, you're going to have him win. Now, the backstory to that was pretty cool. And again, it was an okay match. It was a slow match. The build-up to it was pretty feeding, man. But there was no doubt in my mind Jake was going to win. So there's that. Now, the match that I believe makes this WrestleMania worthy. If it wasn't for this match that's coming up next, that I'm about to talk about, this by far, in my opinion, would be the worst, absolute worst WrestleMania of all time. And it probably still is. I really got to think about it. But this match kind of saves it. This match gives it some sort of face to put out there, to say like, oh yeah, that match did take place there. I don't know. I got to rethink about the worst WrestleManias now. And I'm talking about Bret the Hitman Hart versus Roddy Piper for the Intercontinental Championship. What a great match. What a great match that these two guys put on there. And the ending. Just when it looked like the hot rod, Roddy Piper, was putting the excellence of execution to sleep, the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be, goes to the corner, puts his feet up on the top turnbuckle, pushes backwards, flipping his body over the hot rod's head, pinning him for a 1, 2, 3. We got a new Intercontinental Champion. Badass. Badass, Holmes. Great match. As we move on, we had a 8-man tag, which was Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Sergeant Slaughter. I'm sorry, 8-man. Did I say 8-man tag? I'm sorry. Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Sergeant Slaughter, Virgil, and Big Boss Man. So it is an 8-man tag. Okay. Okay, yeah, you're right. 8-man tag. I'm over here tripping over myself. Okay. So it was Hacksaw Jim Duggan, Sergeant Slaughter, Virgil, and Big Boss Man versus the Mountie, Repo Man, and the Nasty Boys. Now, I really enjoyed the beef between Big Boss Man and the Mountie. I thought that was pretty damn cool. Their rivalry was pretty badass. Both guys, you know, in their respective uniforms, I thought was pretty cool. This match sucked. I like a lot of these guys. I like Hacksaw Jim Duggan. I like Sergeant Slaughter. Virgil was starting to just break off on his own, sort of, but I didn't really care for this match too much. It was okay at best. But I don't know anybody that was looking forward to this match. Now, moving on to the first main event. The Macho Man Randy Savage versus the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Ric Flair had become champion by winning the Royal Rumble match in what a lot of people call one of the greatest Royal Rumbles ever. I call it one of the worst Royal Rumbles ever. I did not like that Royal Rumble. Man, that was a bad Royal Rumble. Not good. But apparently, many wrestling aficionados really loved that Royal Rumble. For what reason? I don't know. I didn't like it. Nonetheless, he became champion there. So here he is at WrestleMania, defending it against the Macho Man Randy Savage. And I'm telling you guys this match sucked. I am a fan of the Macho Man Randy Savage. I do like the Macho Man Randy Savage. I've never really been a fan of the Nature Boy. I'm a fan of his smack talking. I'm a fan of his character. But I've never really been a fan of his in-ring performance. His character, his catchphrases, his woo, all that good stuff. I've been a fan of his when it comes to that. But his in-ring performance, his wardrobe, his gear, all that stuff, man, I've been a fan of that. The limousine riding, kiss stealing, willing and dealing son of a gun. I'm a fan of all of that. But his in-ring performance, I've never really been a fan of. And this match, I mean, look, love it if you want. I thought it sucked, man. It's basically him, and I get why he's doing it. It's basically him just beating up on the Macho Man Randy Savage's leg, which makes sense. I get it. He's working for the figure four lock. So I understand that, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it. I thought it was a horrible match. Nonetheless, the Macho Man Randy Savage wins. We got a new champion. Tatanka versus Rick the Model Martel. I didn't care. Tatanka won. That's fine. Let's move on. World Tag Team Champions on the line. Natural Disaster, which is Earthquake and used to be called Tugboat, but then he went to Typhoon, versus Money Incorporated. Now, Money Incorporated, who is the $1 Million Man Ted DiBiase, and IRS, really made sense for them to be a tag team. And if it wasn't for Ted DiBiase, their character, their tag team probably wouldn't have much character. However, they did have Jimmy, the Mouth of the South, Jimmy Hart. So while I did like them character-wise, again, man, they weren't like an exciting tag team to watch in the ring. And them being champion, it's like, I remember it used to get me pissed off, man, because they would always, find a way to keep the titles, just like in this match. Natural Disasters actually won this match, but they won by countout. And I really wanted DiBiase and RS to lose the straps. They weren't that great. They weren't that much of an exciting of a team. Owen Hart defeats Skinner. Whatever you guys want to make of that. May Owen Hart rest in peace. Skinner was quite the character. But let's move on to the second main event. The immortal Hulk Hogan goes in against Psycho Sid Justice. Now, this match, on paper, at least back then, it looks good. You got two big dudes gonna go at it. But holy smokes. My goodness. I truly believe that it was this match that brought up the newer generation, the HBKs, the Bret the Hitman Harts. Because while these guys are big dudes, you guys got to remember, at one point in time, it was all about the big guys. And at this point, I thought this was like the final turning point. The last time for the big guys to show, no. This is a big boy sport right here. So let's show them. We're not losing our spot. And boy, did they lose their spot, Holmes. Terrible. Terrible. They couldn't even finish the match, right? Because Papa Shango, for whatever reason that doesn't even make sense, why is he coming down to get involved into the match? I got no idea. I'm perplexed by all this stuff, Holmes. It's like, wait a second, why is this dude coming in and getting involved in the match? Papa Shango and Psycho Sid Justice are in cahoots? Since when? He just decides to run down there and get involved in the match. Oh, and he botched it. He didn't get there in time. So now they just both start beating up on the Hulkster. The match ends up in disqualification with Papa Shango for whatever reason. I don't know what his beef is with the Hulkster. And then the Ultimate Warrior comes running out like a maniac, as he should. He is the Ultimate Warrior. You come running out like a maniac. Damn right. May he rest in peace. And cleans house. That was pretty cool to see. But from beginning to end, the best things out of this WrestleMania for me was Reba McEntire singing the national anthem and Bret the Hitman Hart versus Roddy Piper for the IC strap. Outside of that, this WrestleMania sucked. And is it the worst for me? I don't know. I really got to think about it. But I'll tell you guys this. Every time people ask me, what is the worst WrestleMania? This is the first one that comes to mind. But I got to do a little bit of digging and a little soul searching, man, before I really make that claim that this is the worst WrestleMania. Because I'm not saying that it is. I'm just simply saying, when you ask me, this is the first one that comes to mind. And that Ric Flair and Macho Man Randy Savage match, holy smokes, dog. Holy smokes. I never thought the Macho Man could be in a bad match. May he rest in peace. One of the greatest ever. So ahead of his time. I love the Macho Man Randy Savage. Anyway, what is your worst WrestleMania in your guys' opinion? I want to just say it one last time to make it clear. I'm not saying this is the worst one for me. It might be. It might be. I'm just simply saying, whenever I'm asked, this is the one that comes to mind. But we'll definitely be talking about some WrestleManias coming up here soon, man. Cholo Trucker Wrestling Rehab. Shout out to all the junkies. I'll catch you guys on next one.